the strings louder.
So it is fixed. Garrett, what do you think?
Done and done. I think the repair underneath there is...
It's ready to go. It's certified. It's Corvette body shop approved, I guess. So basically haven't even filmed a clip introducing this video, but today we are fixing the big gash in the side of the frame of this Corvette. As you can see, I basically worked on mocking this thing up yesterday, kind of getting off all this random, like, it's not body filler, it's like panel bond / glue of how it was actually attached on here, kind of making room for it. Hold this for a second. So pull this guy off. It's basically just resting in there right now, but as you guys have seen us on the time lapse, we've been working on this little aluminum fixed panel right there. Right now we just have it taped up just to check the clearance. Obviously this adds, I think this is about 1/4 inch or 3/16 inch plate. We got it all bent up. What was the process?
So we annealed it basically with some heat.
Annealing,
yeah.
That's what it's called. So you heat up the aluminum and then quench it, so that way when you bend it, it doesn't just crack. So that's something that Garrett knew. I didn't even know you're supposed to do that, but I didn't realize how strong aluminum was actually to to actually like bend. This thing seemed like it was kind of a pain, but yeah, so right now it's just taped. So we'll go ahead and pull off all this tape, which the tape almost looks good. I mean, that's better than it was. Don't really have to worry about rust or anything on here just because it is a aluminum frame, but you know, getting everything sealed up. So we've got the gash kind of pulled out a little bit to where we could actually weld on it a little bit. But yeah, I think we're almost ready for some welding. Basically just need to clean up some of the metal around here. Maybe tap that in a little bit more, and I think we're good. Yeah. Like if you stood back, like that looks fine. Just seeing it on there, you're like, oh, that's perfect. Done. It's ready to go.
Brand new. Good morning.
All right. So we got it fitted a little bit better right now, and you can see we got some self tappers basically holding it on there, right there. Cut off that top so there's not as much of a lip kind of going around the top. You can see she fits around the edges pretty good. So we're actually not going to be welding this. So I feel like for the time, and you know, obviously Drift Week is only a couple of days away, and I have a lot of stuff left to do on this thing. Welding it, I think would take a little bit of time, and getting the welder over here and doing all that other stuff. But if we just use this 3M panel bond, if you guys have ever used 3M, this panel bond stuff, it's amazing. It bonds to aluminum, like plastic. It says everything on here. Steel, aluminum, SMC, and FRP, but steel. So there's actually I just watched a video of 3M doing a test with like a shipping container. They glued these two like hockey puck looking things together with a big loop and a chain, and basically held 20-foot shipping container with like 9,000 pounds of bricks in it for 18 hours in the cold with just panel bond, like holding it up from a crane. So again, I don't really think this was necessary to even do. I know it's one of those things, it's ugly, but structurally I think there's a lot of strength in this thing. It's basically like a big C frame, but with the panel bond, I guarantee you'll never be able to get that thing off of there. So we're gonna go ahead, remove the self tappers, clean up this whole area a little bit, give it some really good tooth, probably like some 40 grit on a flapper, just so that it, you know, gives the panel bond something to bite to. And we'll basically glue that on there, and then we could actually stick this inner structure on, glue that on there, and then in 24 hours, basically tomorrow, this thing will be on there, and then we can just move on with the project. got the door on here and mounted. So that took a little bit longer, but we got it fitting pretty good. So gaps and everything look pretty good all the way around it, and got it adjusted to where it actually opens and closes by itself without having to like manhandle it or doing some other stuff. So I spent a lot of time cutting out the previous, like all that stuff in there, like all the glue essentially, and I got it kind of sitting in place with some self tappers right now. So I just wanted to check the fitment with the door, make sure all that stuff was going to line up, and then I also am going to be making a little fiberglass panel for right here, which isn't going to be a whole lot of fun, but we should be able to get her done. So my plan for this right here is to actually take some of this aluminum tape and basically build a flange and then just kind of mock it up kind of close to the door right here, and then what we'll do is just lay some fiberglass mat in there, and then just kind of blend these guys together is what we're gonna do. So it's definitely gonna be interesting. These panels, I could have got one for about 700 bucks, but I just kind of hesitated on buying it. Didn't really want to spend 700 bucks on the quarter panel of the car when this thing is gonna be a drift car. I know everybody who has a drift car, they always justify it and they say, you know, oh, I'm going to be hitting walls with this. I mean, I don't really want to hit walls with this, because when you hit walls, you have to fix the damage, and that's not fun. I would rather be driving it, but you know, things do happen, and obviously this car is not perfect anyhow, but looks pretty good with the door on it. And now that the door is actually there, there's not really that big of a piece, except for it does have this, you know, it has the vent, the Z06 vent, so I'm going to have to try and copy that. But I have the brake duct that fits in there, so I should be able to get close. It might look a little funny, but Trevi's Customs.
Yep, Trevi's Customs.
That's what it's gonna be. So yeah, we got this thing attached. I went ahead and just self-tapped this thing on here too. I was gonna glue it, but you know, due to the nature of the car, and if we ever want to change fitment or change any other stuff with it, that'll just be easy to yank back off instead of having to like pop it off and re-glue it, and it feels really strong how it is anyhow. So yeah, mostly just wanted to get the door fit on there so I could start messing with this. So I'm going to start with that, and then once I get that kind of in where it needs to be, I'm actually going to officially glue this thing on for the day, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so this is what we were doing over here with the fiberglass. So basically built a flange out of that 3M aluminum tape. The fiberglass doesn't really stick to that like crazy because it's the way it is, it's just kind of shiny. Basically built a little flange, went all the way super tight around all the gaps and edges, and we'll end up just having to kind of build this stuff up later. And then what we'll actually do is once this gets hard, normally this stuff takes about an hour or two to get hard depending on how much hardener you put in it, but leave this thing overnight, but we'll peel off that tape from the back side, and I'll actually scuff the back of this this fiberglass fender, and then we'll put a piece basically from up here to down there and kind of tie in all this stuff from the back side, give it some good strength, and then obviously we got to mess with some other stuff on it too. So lots of bodywork and other stuff. We got the Aperature panel officially glued on there with whatever you want. We use this 3M window weld, and then kind of what I did is used a mixture of the window weld as well as the panel bond, and I basically built like a pool, like a dam almost of the window weld, and then filled up the center of it with the panel bond. So basically did like a little circle of window weld, and then filled up the inside of it with panel bond, and then glued this thing on it. So you get a nice little squish going around. It's basically just like you're installing a windshield on the car. So there's some little pieces on the bottom, and then this whole flange all the way down has it. There's some big gloops up here, but other than that, we're good to go. This, I would say, this Aperature panel and that whole frame chunk damage has been what has been holding me up this whole time. Yeah, again, it's a drift car. It's not going to be 100% like show car type thing, or trying to put this thing back to OEM. We're going to thrash on this. We're going to put it on the track. We're going to beat on it. So probably should have bought a new OEM panel, but just didn't want to, didn't want to spend the money, trying to keep this thing on a budget. But again, we're making some progress. Door fits nice. So once the door is on it, fit the front end, start doing some engine transmission stuff, exhaust stuff. We got the subframe in, we got the radiator, got a bunch of parts still coming for this thing and showing up within the next couple days. So yeah, that's a little update on the C6 Corvette. Hopefully you guys are stoked about this. If you are, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Maybe give this video a thumbs up. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and see you guys in the next one.